can't eat plant-based, it's too expensive. Is it though? In this video, I'll talk about food prices and how much the average person spends on food, the new food guide, and how my diet matches up with it while sharing with you a day in my life. This is my very favorite way to make oats these days. I just scoop out roughly a handful of the large oats, add about a cup of berries and some water, and mix it all up. The water should just be at the top of the oats. Actually, can you even see the oats? It's more berries than oats. I let it simmer for 10 minutes, stirring it every once in a while until it all becomes a creamy oneness. Instead of using sugar to sweeten my oats, I just use banana. I squish it a lot and then I mix the oats in. This is just so delicious, so healthful, and cheap. You gotta try it. And according to the new food guide, this meal fits right in, with the grains being a quarter of my plate, half a plate being the berries. While we're on the topic of food prices, I wanted to find out how much the average person spends on groceries. I found out that the average is about $78 a week, or $11 a day.
I went to pick up my pretty new glasses, and then I went to our local thrift shop, and this got me thinking again about the prices of food here in northwestern Ontario.
I discovered that it definitely is more expensive to feed yourself in remote areas. 8% more in remote communities and 51% higher on reserves. However, I also found out that for under $50 a week, $7 a day, you could feed yourself a highly nutritious diet no matter where you live and shop. And how did I come up with this list of healthy foods? I turned to the new food guide, of course. Have you seen this? I'm so excited by this new Canada food guide. Look how colorful it is. This is really going to transform the bodies and health of so many people. Instead of breaking up our diet into 4 food groups, like the old, outdated one, this refreshed new guide simply breaks down our plate into half a plate fruits and veg, a quarter whole grains, and a quarter protein, mostly plant-based. I highly encourage you to learn more about this new food guide, and I'll have resources in the description box below. I was so excited to find these dark purple potatoes today. Actually, they're sweet potatoes. Aren't they beautiful? For lunch, I decided to cut up a couple of these beauties and make myself a potato bowl. You could cook these in your oven at 400 for about 40 minutes, but I just cooked them in my air fryer on high for 15 minutes. No oil is necessary. Oil just adds calories for no reason, and it's not nutritious. Definitely nowhere to be found on the new food guide. I like to add greens to as many of my meals as possible. So for this time, I used some broccoli, cooked it up in the microwave, just steamed it for 2 minutes till it was soft. I added my potatoes, and then came the pièce de résistance. In a blender, combine half a cup nutritional yeast, a couple of carrots. If you like, you can also use red pepper, a potato, for your spices, add a teaspoon onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of paprika. Add some salt, and then blend it all together with some water and some lemon. According to the new food guide, my potato bowl fits right in, with half of my plate being vegetables, quarter of my plate being the protein from the nutritional yeast in the sauce, I would have just needed to add a toast or quinoa on top to fulfill the grain criteria. The new food guide is not specific as to portion size. They just want us to make it a habit to eat a variety of healthy foods each day. Now I'm off to work. I just have a little 3-hour shift in a snowstorm, so we'll see how that's gonna go for flights landing. So I'll show you what I bring for supper. Here's how I made that vegetable dal that turned out so delicious. I made it in my Instant Pot, but you could do it just on the stovetop. Cut up all your veggies. Doesn't have to be these exact veggies, but I highly recommend onion, carrots, and potatoes. Add all your veggies plus a cup of red lentils to your Instant Pot or your stove. For spices, I used salt, smoked paprika, cumin, and turmeric. Finally, I added a teaspoon each of onion and garlic powder. These next ingredients are optional, but they add a ton of flavor. This meal was a real winner according to the food guide. I have my quarter plate of grains, quarter plate of protein with the lentils, and a half a plate of my veggies with all the veggies in there. And oh so cheap for all the nutrients in here. And that about sums up my day of living and eating in small town northwestern Ontario. Hope you enjoyed this video and that it'll give you ideas on eating cheaply and healthfully according to the new food guide. Please give this video a thumbs up as this really motivates me. See you next time.
Small Town Vegan, living and thriving as a plant eater in a small town.